Hi, I'm Jason Wilson, Town Council of the Town of Gray. This is part two of the video series on the state of Gray, and this one pertains to the 2019 budget. I call this the perfect storm of 2004, give or take a year. So the four factors of 2004, LD1, which was a tax levy controlled by personal income growth and property tax, which basically means that towns could not have their budgets increase a certain amount, which was geared by a personal income tax level and the amount of revenue. So the idea was to decrease the tax burden on the citizens by keeping the actual growth rate of the budget of the town below the growth rate of in the budget of essentially the citizens. Made sense. The comprehensive update plan, it conflicted with the downtown executive order, and also the impact fee failure. Politically, that really didn't go very well, but it was put in there to help curb the residential housing boom that was expected to come. 2004, there was a main revitalization downtown by Governor Baldacci, somewhat conflicted with our zoning, and the residential housing boom started in 2004. And we basically have a combined probably over 500 plus combined housing and dwelling units since that time, and our mill rate has gone from 9 to 18. So the residential impact outpaced the revenue streams because there was a political demographic, had an increased demand on schools, town programs. This is kind of the important thing, is simultaneously there's an intense pressure to have zero-based budgets. And simultaneously they voted to use the capital improvement programs to pay for the services they demanded. And it also created more, as you have more residents, people move in, more of a bedroom community, anti-business climate. So, and on the comprehensive update plan, people want to know why it failed to get adopted. It's an important fact, but basically a few comprehensive plan committee members understood that the indicators of affordable housing made Gray a default affordable housing community. In 2003, they understood the link between housing policy and schools, and to provide the proper resources for kids' education, Gray needed to amp up housing policies. And the Brookings Institute studied 84,000 school districts. I think it's the largest ever study in this area. And about 10 years after 2003, they came to the conclusion that land use policy is education policy. So the committee members made an unpopular decision at the time not to drink the state-mandated Kool-Aid. But in hindsight, it looks like they were correct. This was a little jingle that was sung from some business people might remember it in the late 90s and early 2000s. There were state mandates to push costs to town. Urban compact, Gray's population increased. We became an urban compact. We had to absorb the cost of stormwater, bridges, roads. We had stalled progress to funding K through 12 education, which was associated with LD1. A general retreat from investments in transportation, from infrastructure in the state level, and mandates for regionalism and municipal consolidation. They're good ideas, but sometimes the state mandates have a trickle-down impact on communities as far as their costs and responsibilities. On the positive, outside the village, and this was also a result of the comprehensive plan, which seems to get missed. So we have reception centers, inns, Hannaford, Valley Engineering renovation, gun range, Forest Hill, the Libby Hill Forest, and the bank. Then some rogue town councils and citizens tired of monkey business wanted to do something, and they were looking for a solution, and they came up with the policy of contract zoning, coming up with an ordinance advisory committee to prune off obsolete and improve future ordinances. They improved the subdivision policy with sub-D accounts and open space, and they had impact fees, which basically put the cost on people demanding the services. The results, Bruns Brothers, contract zone. They're one of our top 10 taxpayers, and they invest in Gray. They're the ones that renovated Valley Engineering. Britain Lumber had a contract zone, allowed them to branch out. And Cumberland Farms will be the biggest revitalization project in 30 years in the village. And that is a result of, again, some citizens and town councilors taking an unpopular decision and pushing it through for the betterment of Gray. So in spite of political pressure and other constraints, region town councils did a lot to improve Gray. So the summary, so you had a political demographic that simultaneously demanded services while constraining revenue generating entities. That demographic also simultaneously demanded services and a zero-based budget. State mandates pushed costs onto Gray. Zoning and allowed uses in the village did not support the 38 years of centrally planned development for downtowns. And the Westerly bypass, I've heard that a lot, but newsflash, that route was planned in the 1970s. It was discussed in the 1990s. It was discussed during the comprehensive plan. It was out there. It happened quickly, and it was too politically hot at the time to take up that people just didn't want to get involved with it because there was a lot of controversy and people didn't want to have to endure all that. And as a result, the CIP and savings got spent by voter approval. So that is the basic summary of how we got to our current state of Gray in 2019. There have been some positive and there have been some negatives, and it's very easy to blame past councils, but the reality is, overall, under the constraints, councilors and citizens and committees and boards have done very good work. Thank you very much, and I hope this is helpful.